Welcome to Scoop World Order early show today, Friday. Got a lot of things to get done tonight. Huge day. Scoop Saturday is tomorrow. Buffalo Wild Wings, corner of Lane and High Street, 9 a.m. to 11:30. It's going to be insane. It's going to be crazy. Andy Joe Taylor is going to sing a couple songs for us. We're going to have a ton of Scoop members there. Wear your gear, get a free beer, pack the house, and I plead with you, get there early. It is going to be slammed. I have people coming in from all over the country for it, for our Scoop meetup. I can't wait to see everybody, meet everybody. It's going to be a blast. Really excited about it, and I think you guys are going to have a great time. Great venue. It's one of the greatest sports days I've ever seen with Ohio State football, the Masters, in UFC 300 all on the same day. It's like the perfect day for a Scoop Saturday, and I'm really excited about it. So, as always, we appreciate you guys kicking it with us. We're going to go through our stars of spring and a little bit of a spring game preview today. So we appreciate you guys joining us a little bit early. We've got a lot of stuff to get done today, so we figured we'd knock this thing out early. Again, we appreciate all of you guys that are on here. Obviously, this is a different time. And I apologize to anybody that was expecting us at 7. But we did mention last night we're going to go at 10 today just to get this thing going so we can get set up and ready to rock for tomorrow. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, appreciate all of you guys. They're going to show up and show out tomorrow at Buffalo Wild Wings. I think it's going to be awesome. And if you guys miss it, we are going to be doing a lot of meetups in the future. Not a lot, but every quarter or so we'll have something. We'll get together, get people together. So, again, there's going to be a lot of opportunity, and it's going to be absolutely amazing to meet you guys, see you guys, have you guys connect. A lot of you guys are from BuckeyeScoop.com. A lot of you guys are from the YouTube channel. So there's going to be a ton of people. So Kim and I will be there holding it down. A bunch of other Scoop personalities will be there. Some special guests will be there. I'm not going to reveal them because things can always change, but I'm really excited about some of the people that are going to be showing up. So looking forward to seeing all of you. Shout out what you guys are, or who you guys are watching with. Shout out where you guys are watching from. And what are your plans for the spring game? Are you coming into town? Are you watching it on Fox? So put that down in the comments, and also give me your spring game MVP. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in the Buckeye Scoop MVP, Nevadabuck. Nevada, early morning. I know that you just got your ice glaze thing and your jalapeno bacon bagel or whatever you get as you're walking up and down by the beach, and you get your headphones on. What are your thoughts on spring football? Who are some of the guys that have risen? We were going to do a list of the 5 biggest risers from spring ball. Some of them are names you guys have heard ad nauseum that are superstars and are going to be superstars this year. And there's some guys that are kind of under the radar. Who are some guys that have stood out to you? Again, we talk to people literally that are at practice every day. And who are some of the guys that you've heard a lot of good stuff about?
Well, hold on. I gotta finish chewing down this bagel and sucking down this ice blended before I answer. But no, look, this has been, for me, this has been the most exciting spring practice. Because truth be told, spring football to me generally is kind of a man. I mean, I like it. Spring football is preferable to no football, but don't read too much into it. Don't get that much out of it, and just try to hope that you get through it without injuries, without any notable distractions, without any players arrested for DUIs or anything crazy like that. And I generally just like to kind of work through spring football. This hasn't been the case this year. This year, every spring practice to me, and like you said, we literally get reports on every single spring practice, very detailed reports. I've just been riveted. I've been pouring over the names, been pouring over the stuff, asking lots of questions about guys, and I think this has been the most impactful and important spring football that I've ever covered. And that's saying something. And you say, well, why Nevada? Why would it be so important? Well, one, you've got a wide open quarterback position with 5 viable guys in there. Some are more viable than others, but real guys in there competing for the quarterback position, the most important position on the field by 10x. And the Will Howard transfer, can't say I couldn't be more excited about. I think his leadership, his command of the room, the respect he gets from the other guys, and the way that he just operates is is first rate. It's certainly something to be excited about, and certainly something I'm excited about for the season. And then you've got Devin Brown, who's would have been easy for him to take the path of so many other guys and be upset about a transfer coming in or a fabulous freshman coming in behind him. And I want mine now, and I'm going to get out. Instead, he's kind of pledging his allegiance, at least for now, to Ohio State, having a really good spring. Devin's had a really good spring, so he's not spectacular, but he's been good, and he's been able to stay healthy. Now, a lot of that's because they're not hitting the quarterbacks, and so when the hitting starts, do things change? Yeah, everything changes. Guys get injured, the quarterback run becomes even more impactful. Ball security, especially when you're running with it, becomes paramount. But that's something that I've really watched for with Devin, and Devin's had a really solid spring. And then there's been the story of Julian Sayin. Julian Sayin has been everything we wanted him to be and more. Really, really good player. The only thing that's standing in his way, to me, in terms of future stardom, is he's a little slight. He's not a big guy. He's not a tank like Will Howard. We can go through the list of quarterbacks that weren't tanks in college and were really good, and it's a long and distinguished list. And I think Julian's going to join that list shortly. But right now, he just looks a little slight, a little light out there, and you worry that he's going to get broken, especially as much as Chip likes to run the quarterback. And that's something that you have to consider in this Chip Kelly offense. And then you've got Lincoln and Air, who, again, truth be told, Air hasn't done much, and Lincoln's been okay. Love them as kids. Glad that they're Buckeyes, but I think it's definitely a three-man race at quarterback. But when you have a quarterback battle like that, an active quarterback battle that goes back and forth every single day, that to me makes it just mega excitement. And then you toss in the spice of a J.J. Smith, the emergence of a C.J. Hicks, and the coming out like a freight train of a Sonny Styles, or a Caden McDonald, or a Jason Moore, or a Josh Simmons. Or Carson Hinsman. Talk about a reclamation right. Carson Hinsman was relegated to the Isle of Misfit Toys with some snapping problems, heading into the Cotton Bowl, and then we go out there and roll the worst offensive line performance that I've ever seen. And the one big key thing that was different was that Carson Hinsman wasn't playing center. So it doesn't. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out how much of an impact he made on that offensive line. And now he's back in there battling. We've got a center guard battle going on between him and McLaughlin, where they're kind of swapping back and forth at that right guard spot and the center spot. And I can't remember ever seeing that at Ohio State. And to me that's just got so many different fascinating overtones. But and then finally the emergence of a Quinshawn Judkins, to complement your everything running back and Trey Henderson. But Quinshawn's a big yards after contact guy. He's a guy that he's going to break tackles. He's going to. He's definitely not just a goal line or just a red. He's an everything back. But we have everything. We literally have the two best running backs in the country in the same backfield. And ironically enough, now Chip Kelly is running a lot of two-back sets as well. And we saw that a lot in the spring. We'll probably see that a lot in the fall. And I've always been a big believer in getting your best players on the field. Well, Chip Kelly's going to do that and do that early and often. So, yeah, just been an amazing spring ball. So many different stories and so much to be excited about coming out of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. Again, I love hearing some stuff, and it's interesting, that Ryan Day went so in on Julian Sayin. That was something that piqued my interest because, again, we had a big report on him the first two practices about how accurate he was and how good he was, and basically how deadly he was when he was on the field. Then they had reports about him moving up and he's doing stuff with the first team. And again, they roll these quarterbacks in a different manner than I've ever seen anywhere, where you've got guys like Will Howard going with the threes. You've got guys that are freshmen that have been there for 2 months going with the ones, like Julian saying. That never happens. Like Urban Meyer would never do that. He would never say, okay, we're going to put the high school kid with the first team. And because with Urban, it was kind of like every rep was precious and you got to get, like there wasn't as much rotation anywhere compared to where it is now, where they kind of give everyone a chance. And again, I don't think that's not a slight on Ryan Day or Chip Kelly or anything. I think it's just more with the transfer portal. Like it's a lot easier.
Bingo. That's such a great point.
Yeah. Cause my thing is like, here's how this next 7 days is going to go. So Saturday morning, we're all going to go to Buffalo Wild Wings. It's going to be one of the greatest days in the history of mankind because I'm going to get to meet all you guys. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have the Masters on starting at 9 a.m. And then we're going to have wings, beer. We're going to watch the spring game. It's going to be awesome. It's not even worth going to the spring game when you can sit in Buffalo Wild Wings and have the Masters on a bunch of TVs and you can have the game on a bunch of TVs. Like there's nothing better in the universe than that. I can't imagine a better fate for humanity than watching those things at the same time. But with that being said, Ryan is going to try to run the guys in that need to get in, try to play the guys that need to play, try to get guys in early. Because there's a lot of egos right now that are hurting. I'm just being honest, because this is the time of the year where guys figure out they're part of the plan, they're not part of the plan, or they're part of the plan down the road. There's like 3 different buckets the guys are in right now. Guys like Julian Saint is part of the plan this year. Like when Ryan Day, again, and again, Nevada, you've been following football for a lot longer than I have at Ohio State, just because you're older than I am. It's probably 20 years longer than I have. But I've never heard a coach talk about a freshman who graduated early at quarterback saying he needs to be ready to play versus like Oregon this year. Like that was, and again, if you're Lincoln Kienholz, if you're Devin Brown, if you're Aaron Nolan, like my antenna would go up a little bit if all of a sudden they're like, is this guy the next phenom? Because again, there's no shame. Like when Trevor Lawrence showed up at Clemson and beat out Kelly Bryant, like that's not Kelly Bryant's fault. Trevor Lawrence ended up being the number 1 overall pick. Like could Julian Saint be that guy? I think he can be. Again, I mean, guys that can throw the ball in the league are worth $300-400 million now, and you can't win without a quarterback. And is Julian Saint a Quinn Ewers type prospect? Like Quinn's going to be a top 5 pick next year. Watch, and it's like those are the kind of guys that you win championships with at every level of football, college, and especially in the NFL. But there's going to be a line of guys, maybe as early as Monday. Because you gotta remember the parents are all coming to town. There's a big parents meeting Saturday morning where they go through compliance and all this other garbage. And a lot of these parents are going to stick around till Monday and say, "Hey, Coach Day, can I get a minute? Can I get 30 minutes? Can I get 40? Go to the position coach." I've seen this movie before. I saw it with Dallin Hayden. I saw it with Dallin Hayden last year. After the spring game, his parents and Tony Alford, and they all went to Tony Alford's son's recital, literally, and they all sat and talked through what's Dallin's role, what's he gonna do, what's the plan. And Tony's like, oh well, he's gonna have a role this year, but then the next year he's gonna be the hoss when Trey goes to the league, and then this is the thing that I always laugh about. I'm like, guys, like, don't believe any of that, because all of a sudden Trey stays, and then Quinshon shows up, and it's like, oh, my role went from I'm going to be the dog to I have no role again, like for the last other 2 years. So, there's going to be parents meeting with Ryan Day on Monday, and they're going to be meeting with him on Sunday, and they're going to be, because again, they're all in town, and a lot of these parents, they think they're agents. They all think that they're Jerry Maguire now. So they want to say, what's my boy's deal? Like, is he going to play? And again, if I'm Ryan, and the thing I give Ryan a lot of credit for is that he's honest. If kids aren't good enough to play here, he tells them. And guess what? They either go start their careers or they move on. And there's no shame in that. There's plenty of guys that show up to Ohio State and they say, this is a little bit harder than I can. These are the expectations I can meet. So they move on. They go find a level that's more comfortable for them and hopefully play somewhere else. And then that opens up spots for us, because that spring portal is going to open up and we're going to be shopping. It's going to be like, when you're a little kid back in the 80s and you'd get the JCPenney catalog and you'd cut the toys out and you'd glue it to the thing and send it to Santa. That's what we're going to be doing, because this team is loaded for bear. And the thing about Ryan Day is he's got to cash this one in. This is Nevadabuck with an ice blended at the video poker machine, dealt 4 aces on the bottom, and you just got to hit the button and wait for the money to get spit out. That's this kind of year. And you can't screw this one up. You can't accidentally throw back three of the aces and have ace high, and then it deals you a bunch of jacks or better hands or whatever, and then you make no money. Like this is when Ryan's got to cash in because this is like that 19 team. This is like Urban's 15 team. This is like Tressel's 05 team, Cooper's 98 team. There's certain teams where you get to this point in the season, you're like, this is when you got to cash it in, and this is one, and we're there. And again, we got Chip. We got Will Howard. We got Caleb. We've got Trey Henderson. We have the best pair of running backs in school history. So yeah, there's a lot on the line. And again, are we going to be shopping for another offensive lineman? Absolutely. I mean, we'll shop for every single position on the roster where if there's a marketable improvement and it's affordable. Like we're not going to go break the bank for some guy that's going to be a moderate upgrade over somewhere. But if there's a guy who's an impact guy, we're going after him. And again, this portal season is about to be wackadoo. And I can't wait because, again, I think that we got this stuff on lockdown. I'm excited to see what Ryan can do. But I think, Julian's saying, I think he's the story of the spring outside of JJ. But JJ isn't surprising. I went down and saw him a bunch with the South Florida Express. And, Brett Getz been telling me about JJ. So I'm not surprised about JJ. Julian Sane is a guy that wasn't even committed to us in December, didn't even sign with us. And then Nick Saban goes to, retire Jupiter, Florida and surf around in his $20 million mansion. And magically we get Bill O'Brien for 3 weeks as our OC. And magically Julian Sane shows up and he's an animal. He is the guy. He's the franchise. And hey, I couldn't be happier because as long as we have a franchise quarterback, we've got a chance to win a national championship every single year he's here. And he's probably only going to be here for 3 years. So, Nevada, any rebuttals to anything I said? Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me just say, I thought your point that you made about the difference about playing quarterbacks and playing young talent. I think it's so good, and I want to go back over that because you were talking about the difference between Urban Meyer and Dave, just in terms of stylistic differences. But man, Urban never had to navigate in an instantaneous free agency transfer portal type of environment. And now with these guys, what you're witnessing right now is just the byproduct of you have to play guys immediately. You have to get them on the field because if you don't get them on the field, what's going to happen in 15 minutes is other schools are going to be contacting them and saying, why aren't you on the field? Why aren't you playing? Come here and play right now. We'll throw a bunch of money at you. You can, the days of taking a phenom quarterback and sitting him, I think they're gone. I think you've got to. I think this is the profound difference in one of the so many profound differences in college football, but you have to play the young guys right off from Jump Street in some way, shape, or form. Otherwise, you lose them. Is a real thing, and it's gonna affect. I mean, while it affects the team, it's gonna affect the veteran players. I mean, you kind of had a situation last year with Kansas State where they get their highest ranked quarterback ever in, and then you've got Will Howard who's got 1 year left. Well, they've got to find a way to get this phenom on the field because if he doesn't get on the field, he might just leave. So it just changes every dynamic on your team when you've got to play guys, when you're forced almost into playing guys. And you referenced Ryan Day's honesty. Well, look, in this environment, the worst thing you could do would be to mislead a kid about your intentions of playing him if he does not have the talent to play at Ohio State, or if there's any question about his ability to play. And I think I'll even change that description to you almost have to be ready to play now. Unless you're really at a development position, can Ohio State really afford to put you on the roster, stash you away, hope you develop in time where they get you on the field, and then hope after they've spent all this time developing you that you don't just up and leave to some other school before they've gotten the benefit of any of your development. So I think that's why so many schools, like I said, are going into the second portal period right now, having absolutely no idea what is going to happen to their roster. And as you said, Ryan Day is all in on 2024. He's all in on the collectives are all in. The donors are motivated. Everybody's ready to go. If there was another player that they had to pony up money for, you know what? They could raise it. Ohio State could go out there and hit the guys up, raise the money, get the kid in here in terms of doing it. But you can't do that every year. You can't, you can't be the boy that cried wolf and running every year unless you're winning national championships every year and say, okay, now this is the year, man. If we just have another $15 million in NIL money, we'll really be good, and we really have to do it. So this season is so important from so many different levels because Ryan Day's credibility is on the line. Ryan Day's relationships with the collectives is on the line. Ryan Day's relationships with the donors is on the line. Uh, I mean, everything's on the line. I mean, we're pushing all in. We've got our best hand. This is what you want to do. You always dream about when you're playing blackjack. I know we use a lot of gambling references because I am Nevadabuck, but when you're playing blackjack, your dream is to have your biggest bet out there, and you get dealt an 11, and the dealer has a 6. That's when you want to push all your chips. You want to get the biggest bet possible out there. You want to double your bet, and have a chance to make as much money. And generally your nights come down to those nights of, do you win those hands or not? If you win those hands, you go home a winner. If you lose those hands, it's virtually impossible to win. With Ryan Day, this is 2024's got to be a winning. And when I say a winning season, I mean, it definitely means beat Michigan. I think it means you got to get to the championship game. You have to get to the championship game. Let alone win it, but at least you have to be in it. And that's an incredible amount of pressure on Day. But, with great power comes great responsibility. And this is a great Ohio State team. The most talented team that I've ever seen in my 60 year. I haven't been following Ohio State, but I'll say 50 years of actively following Ohio State. This is the most talented team that I've ever seen at Ohio State. And I think it's these are good cards. This is the 11 against the 6. This is the time to push it all in, and I'm here for it.
All right, so I agree. I mean, I think that this is you had Caleb Downs, the best player in the country on defense, and you already had the number 2 total defense from last year returning. Those guys are hungry. Those guys want to improve their draft stock. Again, all those guys got draft grades that they weren't satisfied with, so they're all, again, I've lived it. I've seen it. When I was a younger guy on the program, I saw guys that dialed in. When I was a senior, I mean, everybody just dials in a little bit more when you know that this is the grand finale. This is like training for the Olympics. Like, you can't leave any stone unturned. You got to do everything you can to be as good as you can be. And a lot of those guys are told that. Guys like Jack Sawyer and JT, man, they're lean, they're big, they're quick, they're twitchy, and they're dominating right now. So you can see those 2 guys who, 4 years ago when they showed up, people thought they'd be 3 and out, and Bosa and Chase Young and the names that were thrown around, and they haven't been that, but they've got a chance to be probably not that highly, because I doubt they'd go 2 overall, 3 overall like Joey and Chase Young did, but I think that they've got a chance to go first round, because again, they're clean character kids, they're tough, they're productive. I think that this year they're going to be really productive because I think we're going to play with the lead a lot. I think that they're going to be rushing the passer. I think that part of the caveat to them both agreeing to come back was that, hey, we get to pass rush this year. There's going to be a little bit more freedom, a little bit more cutting it loose. And again, the people that I talk to that are at practice, they really know football. And they're just like, the thing that's different this year versus Jim Knowles' first year in his second year. His first year, he was still kind of going for broke, blitzing, which is great because, again, if you get home, it looks awesome. If you don't, it looks terrible. Last year, he was more conservative, and our defense improved dramatically. This year, it's going to be a mix of year 1 and year 2 because I think that he's got the coverage guys to bring the house. And again, if you guys pay attention, and I know a lot of you guys are YouTube junkies, you watch little clips from Student Day and all that, he is blitzing the crap out of our offense, and they're getting home a lot. Why? Because he has CJ Hicks. CJ Hicks is one of the best blitzers that we've had in the last 15 years. And that's the talking to people that actually really know football, watching this kid blitz, because he's quick, he's violent, and he's got great hands. So he gets past linemen, he shocks linemen. He actually uses an array of moves, which is really interesting because sometimes he'll just try to run through a guy and put him on his heels. And then the next time he'll try to evade the guy. So, again, when you kind of mind screw offensive linemen like that, you get really hard to block. I mean, he's got the power to put a guy like Donnie Jackson on his butt, and then he's got the power, he's got the speed to just make Donnie completely whiff on him. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he's unleashed. And again, I think it's important to blitz him early in games, get him involved, get him locked in. Don't just have him, reading keys and dropping into coverage. Let him go get after it a little bit. Because I think him and Sonny are two guys that they're much more proficient moving forward right now. Now they're going to develop into total linebackers because when you have James Laurinaitis as your coach, you have no choice. You're going to be great. But I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see Tyleek. I think Tyleek's got a different gear that he's at now. Again, this is the money year. There's mock drafts that have Tyleek as a top 20 pick. So, you got that's a double-edged sword because now you're not sneaking up on anybody when you're Tyleek. You're the guy that every offensive guard and every center that you play, whether it's the guy from Oregon, the guy from Michigan, the guy from Penn State, you're the guy. You're the mountain. You're the guy that they circle on their calendar and say, hey, if I want to get paid and go high in the NFL draft or get drafted at all, this is the guy I got to ball out against, Tyleek. And that's the same with Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau. Like those offensive tackles playing those guys are all their mountain. They're the guy that they got to get ready for, get their mind right. And again, when you play at Ohio State, you don't see a ton of, guys on the other sideline where you can make money. It's kind of like when JT Tuimoloau balled out versus Ola Fashul, the guy from Penn State is going to be a top 20-ish left tackle. And, JT dominated him. So that was the big radar moment for him last year. When he had kind of a nondescript campaign, plays hard within the scheme, but he was really productive versus a guy who a lot of people at that time had him rated in the top 10. He's probably going to be top 20 now. So those are always kind of the matchups that you need to see. Nevada, the spring game isn't what it used to be. I wish it was better. Like it used to be a full game. Now it's two-hand touch. What's your stance on that? 'Cause I get Ryan, obviously doesn't want any injuries. That's always the key to the whole spring. But, Mitchell Melton tore his ACL in a non-contact injury last year. So, where are you at with tackling during the spring game versus not tackling versus rotations? What are your thoughts on the current spring game format?
Well, I've talked about this before, but I'd love to see them go to exhibition games. I know they do that at different levels where you play it against different schools, and I think that would take the spring game to a completely different stratosphere. Short of that, look, football's a violent game. I mean, I just think you got to play the game and you let the chips fall where they may. And if somebody gets hurt, it's unfortunate, but if it was going to happen, it was probably going to happen anyway. And so, if you're really trying to get, this is an evaluation period. If you're really trying to, compare guys when the bullets are flying or see how they handle, adversity or pass rush or running the quarterback or, whatever the things are that measure physicality, I think you got to play it. But that's just my opinion. And I'd probably have that opinion until the first guy got injured. And then I'd be like, what was he doing out there? You should, I immediately retract my position and change it. We should never have physicality, but no, it's a physical game. It's inherently dangerous game. It's inherently a game where people get injured. You get injured a lot of different ways, a lot of different places, and look, injuries are going to be a part of the factor this year with the season, the way the season's setting up, because you're talking about a 16 or 17 game schedule, and it is going to be a war of attrition. It's going to be who's best conditioned, who can best navigate the rigors of a schedule like this. And to circle back on something you were talking about, about the younger player like Julian Sain being ready. Well, man, you better have 3 viable quarterbacks ready in a season this long, because it's highly likely. I mean, it's a virtual certainty you'll get to the backup, and I'd say that it's probably at least a 20 or 30% certainty that you'll get to the third quarterback. And when I say get to the third quarterback, I'm talking about in meaningful situations where they need to take meaningful reps for you, and that's that's slightly terrifying, but slightly exciting when you've got a room like Ohio State does. I think Ohio State's probably better situated to handle that than anybody. So, again, to your original question, would I be I would. I would make it a game. I would make it a game. I would have a draft. I'd split the players. I'd make it a game. I'd make it, I'd make it meaningful. Winners versus losers. The winners got something. The losers got something. And I like the old steak versus beanies and Franks thing, or walking back to the Woody, or whatever it was to make the game matter. Because hey, that's what life is about: winning and losing. You either win or you lose, and it's sad, and not everybody can win. And I think that's I know those guys have learned that lesson before they got to Ohio State, but to reinforce it in the spring game, I don't think would ever be a bad message.
Yeah, I miss the old days. And again, I'm not trying to be like Mr. Oldhead, but it's just like, we used to do a full draft, and it would be like Team Barton versus Team Nevadabuck, and they divide the seniors up in half, and then we draft out everybody. And they used to have it used to be amazing. They used to have the media there. It was really cool. It would have been something that would have been cool to like stream. Honestly, like if I was the head of NIL, which would be scary because we'd probably raise so much money, it'd be gross. I'd have done like a draft, and I would have had like, the two teams, and I would have said, hey, GM, you want to be the GM of the gray team, $5,000. You want to be the GM of the Scarlet, $5,000, whatever. Like, and it would have been fun. I mean, we used to love, because it's a moment in time where the team's literally separated in half. Like, and I'm talking about like with the seniors, and you have like a kind of like a funny little camaraderie for like a week, because you draft the teams on like, I think it was like maybe a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So like the last couple practices, man, it's like, hey, I'm Team Gray, hey, I'm Team Scarlet. And, it's always fun when the rosters are first revealed to see who's where and who's got strengths here and who's got strengths where. And I remember something that was interesting was like, the ones I was part of with Tress, like there were like years where like, I'd be like, man, we could get get Malcolm or whatever. And like, I had like a defensive coach tell me, he's like, Malcolm Jenkins, who's obviously like an almost NFL Hall of Famer. He's like, well, corners aren't super important in this because we're just going to run cover two, so they're not running man. It's not going we're not blitzing. So you have to compute all of the variables into your head about what is the game really like. And then the biggest variable is how long do I get a guy for? Because, you might be in there stargazing and saying, man, I can get Beanie Wells on my team, but Beanie's going to play like 3 plays. And so, like, is it worth drafting Beanie high? Not really. I mean, so that was always the funnest part, is it wasn't just about, about just like, hey, I could get the best players possible. It's like, how long are they actually going to play for? So like those middle tier guys that are kind of balling out in practice, and they might not have emerged as starters yet, that don't have playing time caps, those were the real stars, And I mean, I was so crazy that in 2012, I was the offensive line coach for the Scarlet team. Ed Warner was the offensive line coach for the Gray team. Like, I did mock drafts. Like I had like a little computer program I made where I was doing mock drafts and building out how I thought the draft would go. And I nailed it. It was like, I kind of, obviously there's some guys that you're not going to get completely perfect, but I kind of knew where the quarterbacks are going to be split up. I knew how some of the skill guys are going to be split up. And I remember, Zach was on the other side. Zach loaded up with receivers. And the funniest thing ever is like the 7th receiver that went in the draft that day. So we did this in the staff room. This wasn't in a like a public forum. And Tress was a genius. He had by like '08, he was handing out jerseys, so cause I remember Alex Boone, in '08, he was a captain of the Scarlet team. He took Thaddeus Gibson #1 overall because that way he didn't have to go against them. And again, that was always my strategy, is like, when we had Vernon, I was like, I don't want to go against Vernon. Put him on my team so he can go murder the Gray guys. Because that's part of it, is when you're the captain and you're the offensive tackle, you're like, well, I want to draft the really good DN so I don't have to play against him. So I have a nice easy day on Saturday going against some walk-on. But like, I remember like the 7th guy that was taken, I'll never forget this, because I was looking at our depth chart and I saw how many guys Zach had at receiver. And I was like, I told Tom Herman, I'm like, dude, we have to take Mike Thomas. Like, he's the only scholarship receiver left in the entire room. And we're going to be starting like 3 Frank Kanga, like these other walk-ons. And I was like, we got to take Mike Thomas. And he's like, and I remember he told me like, shut up. And then we took some stupid pick. And then like a pick later, we came back and I'm like, dude, we have to take Mike Thomas. And he likes to say something about me pouting. Cause I was like, dude, we got to take Mike Tom. Like, we don't have any receivers. Like, we have somebody to throw the ball to. And he actually is on scholarship. These other guys aren't. And we took him, and Mike had like 12 catches for like 120 yards in the game. And I was like, he had some ungodly stat line. And the funniest thing is that him and I don't know if it was I think it was Braxton. Like, dude, those guys didn't do, like, Mike didn't run a single correct route, didn't run a single thing. It was basically like he was playing like NBA Jam out there. Like, they were just making up plays and he was getting open and catching the football. And he was like, I mean, if there was an MVP, he would have been the MVP that day. And I was so proud of Mike. And I was like, dude, I picked you. No, Tom Herman did not want to pick you. And I was like, I wanted you because I was like, we need a scholarship guy. And I liked him. He had a lot of growing up to do. I mean, obviously I didn't think he was going to have 150 catches or whatever he did in the NFL season, but he worked really hard. He was tough. Had to grow up a little bit, but I liked, I liked the work ethic. And so I thought that was something to work with. And, in those spring games, man, for some of those guys, that might be the only time they play in the shoe. And sure as can be, he played a couple games that year. And then the next year he redshirted, and then he turned into the best receiver in the draft class he was in, even though the Browns were complete idiots that took Corey Coleman, who sucked, over Mike. But, Mike, him landing with Drew Brees is the best thing that ever could happen to him. But yeah, that's my spring game story. I miss the drafts. I miss tackling. And again, like, I'm not trying to be like Mr. Oldhead, but like, these young guys need to get tackled a little bit. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I mean, I know that, like, we want to make everything as soft as possible in this society, in this country, but like, these guys could tackle a little bit. Like, they're not going to die. I promise. We got a bunch of super chats. Let's burn through these right quick. Buckeye Blitz, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my man. Can we start a scoop betting line on how much Nevada's bar tab will be? Ooh. That is. I don't like that question. Nevada does not want to play that game anymore. I don't want to play no more. I'm ready to go home. He's like, I'm gonna take my Amex and go home. So I said, if you wear that gear, Nevada's buying you a beer. So hey, bottoms up.
Well, you better get there early then, man. You better get there early, because I'm telling you, if you don't get there early, you're going to be a sad panda, and you're going to be standing outside in the parking lot, and you're going to be seeing all the partying going on, and you're going to be like, oh, I wish I'd have gotten here earlier. And it's like, dude, get here early. It's the greatest sports day in the history of sports days.
It is.
The place to be is to get a table at B-Dubs and just camp, man. I'm telling you. Oh, yeah. That's what Nevadabuck would. If Nevadabuck was there, Nevadabuck's tab, I put Nevadabuck's tab up against the collective tab, because there'll be a lot of bacon and cheese smash burgers flying out of that table. I'm just telling you.
It'll be awesome. Looking forward to seeing you, Buckeye Blitz. God, I've gotten so many photos of people wearing the gear. I'm excited to see everybody wearing the Scoop gear. We're going to be waving the flags. It's going to be awesome. Again, thank you for the 5, Buckeye Blitz. Again, Kirk. Oh, man. Whew. This might be a long one. Kirk, Fallout is also my favorite game series, but New Vegas is better than 3 and 4. See, if I had to rank them, I'd put 4, then New Vegas, then 3. But I played more of Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 than any other 2 video games combined in my life. I mean, Fallout 3 came out during my first rookie year in the NFL season. When my rookie year was over, I had like 3 months of doing nothingness before we went back to work. I played Fallout 3 every day, and it was like the greatest. And New Vegas was a game that I was really excited about because it combined my 2 favorite things in the world, Fallout and Las Vegas, and it made it into a video game. And I was like, this is incredible. I remember getting kicked out of the casino because I had my luck at like 10, and I lost all my. You get banned from the casinos when you win too much money, which is hilarious. But I liked 4 because I liked building settlements, and I liked all of the life improvements that just come with newer stuff. They're doing that new optimization thing for Xbox One, so I might replay it. But I love Fallout. I finished the series last night. I couldn't stop. I went till 2 a.m. watching all the episodes, and it's fantastic. And I can't wait for the next season. But yeah, I am a Fallout nerd. I love Fallout. So when the thing came out, I was like, it was, and they did. You always get nervous when they bring something that you love, like a video game, to life as a show. and like they spared no expense. It was excellent, and it was really really well done. The tech was great. I mean, there's a lot of callbacks to the game. It was awesome. So again, I'm a Fallout nerd. I fully appreciate it, but I loved the show. If you guys haven't watched the Fallout show, it's incredible. Mello, what's up, brother? Appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the deuce. And it's in a boot. Did he break something? I don't know if he broke his foot. I knew he was having a foot issue. Um, I did not put that out there just because I don't like talking about injuries if I can avoid it. But there's a reason why we haven't said his name like a single time this spring when he was a guy that we were projected as potentially starting. And again, this is something where like I love Brandon Ennis. I love everything about Brandon Ennis, but this is just happens. This is kind of a circumstance that happens in spring sometimes. Sometimes like, I mean, is he really going to be able to beat out JJ Smith now that the dragon's out of the cave? Like, I don't think so. So I think your starting three is going to be JJ, Emeka, and Carnell, and Brandon's going to play a lot. But when you miss spring, you kind of forfeit your shot at being the starter. If you're unless you're the incumbent and you've got a big resume, because I always talk about my freshman year in 04, I missed spring. I had a shoulder injury I had surgery on. Then I came back for a week. I got my ankle broke, which sucked. It hurt like hell. So I lost the starting right tackle job. I didn't because I didn't have a chance to compete for it. And so, I was angry about it, but what are you going to do when your ankle gets snapped? I mean, there's nothing you really can do except just go rehab and get it going. And this is kind of in that spot, because the JJ thing is not going to die. Like JJ, like when Jim Knowles comes out again, these coaches are great because they say stuff and you're just like, it's a lot of superlatives. But like when Jim Knowles says that JJ might be the best player on the field, like, he's going to be one of the starting three, or else they're going to run Ryan out of town. So it'll be interesting. But I think Brandon's got a bright future. But he's had a nagging foot issue. And he's just gonna have to get back as quick as he can, heal up, and make sure he gets his conditioning right. Nevada, anything on Brandon Ennis again with his foot deal?
Yeah, and I hope people can respect the injury stuff is just that's kind of the line. We believe in giving out inside information, and we feel like we do a really good job of getting you as close to the team as possible. But the injury stuff is kind of a red line for us, and we like to stay away from it. But all I can say on the Brandon Ennis thing is it's not like season threatening. It's not like long term, but it is annoying, and it has cost him valuable reps in the spring. And but he'll be back and good as go in the fall. So I'm very optimistic about his future, but the future is just not now for Brandon.
Totally agree. And I love Brandon, and he's got a huge future ahead of us. And again, we got to play 4 receivers minimum, and I think he's going to have a huge year. Dave Paterick, you've been an Ultra member. Thank you for the 20. Hey guys, see you tomorrow. Can't wait to see you, my man. Can't wait to see you and Janet rocking the Scoop hoodies with the American flag. It's gonna be an amazing day tomorrow. I can't wait. I know that in the future, Nevada will be in the house when he is a little closer. So I am excited for that as well. So tomorrow's going to be great. Again, we're very proud of our partnership with Buffalo Wild Wings. It's helped spawn some other deals with us. Obviously, we've got Twin Peaks now. We've got Mandrake. We've got Town Hall. We've got great partners, and we've got a bunch more coming. That's the thing is like now we're at the point where we can kind of get the crew together, have a good time, and help our partners out. Kind of expose people to places that they'll like, and when they're deciding where they want to order carry out from, hey, let's get it from Meetups. They support the Scoop. We had a great time there. And we're going to have a lot more great times there at Twin Peaks, Town Hall, all of our spots. So really excited about this. I think it's going to be one of the greatest days ever. And I've been it's like Christmas Eve for me right now. I'm so excited to meet everybody tomorrow and have a good time. So I'm looking forward to seeing you, David. Nevada, are you going to miss being there tomorrow?
I am, but I want to shout out the gear because let's tell you, when we talked about doing a gear drop, there are so many reasons not to do a gear drop. And the biggest ones are you never want to turn a good thing into a bad thing. And we've got a great group of people. We have people that love the show and we love them. And now we put out a product, and if the product's not just first rate, if it's not done properly, if it's not sized properly, if it's not shipped properly, if it's not, embroidered properly, then all we'll have to deal with is complaints. And none of us wanted to do that because it's like, you know, it was just a very concerned because we've had some bad experiences in the past, and we're like, man, do we really want to go down that road again? But Kirk decided that he was ready to be heard again, and it's like, no, we're gonna do a Kirk, we're gonna do a drop, and it's gonna be great. And he went out and vetted and found just an absolutely fantastic vendor who brought out the first rate products. And I got to tell you, we haven't had a single complaint, not one. No, no, and we were shipping hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of orders, and the response has been just absolutely uniformly positive. And I got to tip my hat to our vendor and tip my hat to my partner, Mr. Barton, because he believed it could be done, and they pulled it off. And to see that sea of people there tomorrow wearing Scoop beer and getting a free beer is going to be absolutely amazing. And I wish I could be there, but I will be there in spirit, and I'll be there with us via teleconference. I will be joining the festivities.
Yeah, again, it's just something where, you know, we try to really keep the prices low. I mean, things are expensive now, but I mean, we try to keep it like right about where Ohio State charges for a t-shirt, a hoodie, a hat, whatever. And you know, we're just trying to you know, get the gear out, you know, because I know it's humbling. I'm very proud of the people that want to wear our gear. They want to represent it. They want to wear it on spring break and Myrtle Beach, Florida. People all over the world are sending me photos wearing the gear, Vegas. And like, I love that. It's cool. Cause again, it's a fun brand. We have a lot of fun. We cut it up. Our website is on fire right now, buckeyescoop.com. If you guys aren't members of that, you guys should complete your experience. Cause if you have the podcast and you have buckeyescoop.com, it's like the whole shebang. It's amazing. So again, we just appreciate you guys rocking the gear proudly, happily. I had some big time people at Ohio State buy gear, which I'm really excited about. So you're gonna see a lot of it. Like that's the thing I love about it is it's a cool brand, and like I love that people are wearing their gear and they're loving it. There's been so much good feedback on it, and something for the comments that I would love is what else do you guys want in terms of brands? Because I'm gonna do a Carhartt hoodie. I've heard that loud and clear from my Southern Ohio boys. Nice Carhartt hoodie. I love Carhartt hoodies. I think they're nice. They're rugged. You know, because I'm very particular about the brands we use. I want it to be stuff that people like, people that are, you know, it's good, sturdy stuff. You know, that's kind of why I went with Nike. Cause again, like I want people to, most of you guys have all bought a Nike t-shirt, you know, so, you know, if you're a large, an XL, 3XL, whatever. And I didn't want there to be any sizing issues, cause I know some brands run big, some run small. But put in the comments, what do you want? Do you want a white Nike Buckeye Scoop hat? Do you want a different color hoodie? Do you want red? Again, I want all black this time just because I am the Undertaker. I am Johnny Cash. That is my entire makeup. But I do love having feedback, and I want to know. And again, some of the stuff, there is back order issues like that quarter zip. I apologize. Some of the sizes weren't available for like a month on back order. So, but let me know what you guys want in the comments, because again, I love hearing what you guys want. And again, the thing about us, like with Buckeye Scoop, is we want to give you guys what you want. We love to hear input on topics or things you'd like for us to discuss. So always feel free. I always read every comment. If you'd rather email, buckeyescoop@gmail.com is where to find us. But again, we just appreciate all of your support. And again, we can't wait to see you guys on Saturday. Again, this has just been it's been a really nice run. It's been really fun. Speedman 606, thank you for the due. So excited to meet y'all tomorrow. Who is coming? Well, people that you know from here are Kim and I for sure. I've got special guests coming. You know, I don't know how many of them I want to reveal. Again, because guys got different schedules. There's a lot of people that are going to be in town. I'll leave it at that.
Chick Harley.
Chick Harley. No, Chick Harley's coming. I think we're gonna get.
Hop along, Cassidy.
Yeah, we're gonna go. Yeah, if we can bring their trees in, maybe that's about as much as we're gonna get of those guys. I think Phil Steele's gonna stop by. I'm really excited about that. He's his daughter is visiting Ohio State, so love to see Phil. He's a big Scoop guy, big Scoop supporter. He does our show a couple times a year. Great dude. But But we're gonna have a lot of Scoop personalities that you guys know from the message board, and I've got name badges because people asked for them. So I've got like 500 of them. Probably burn through those real quick, and I've got like 10 Sharpies. So probably run through them pretty quick. And again, you don't have to wear a name badge if you don't want to. Obviously, I'm not going to. But if people want to, just so they can put a name with a face, a screen name with a face, that's kind of like the funny, magical thing about this is like people are like, hey, I know you. I know Mellow 7, but you're not really Carmelo Anthony. And I know Buckeye Blitz, but you're not really a Block O logo. Like you actually get to put a name with a face. And that's always the fun part about doing this stuff is that people, they love it. And it's just fun getting to know people and their wives, their kids. I mean, I've got people bringing their sons, their daughters. Like I'm just excited to meet everybody. And I think it's going to be an absolutely magical time. Speedman 606, thank you for the news. We have any merch for sale tomorrow. You know what? The sad part is I'm not. This is it's hard, man. It's hard to bring when you've got anywhere from small to 3XL people and different stuff. Like I just don't, I've got to be on it tomorrow, meeting with people, talking to people. In the future, we might do something like that, but I'm very honest with people when people have customer service questions. Like I am not in the t-shirt business. I am in the Buckeye Scoop business, and we have a great partner that does our merch, and they did great work, and they handle everything, every complaint, every shipping issue, I think we might have had one out of the hundreds of orders we place. So again, I would love to do that, but I don't have the capacity to have like a warehouse full of shirts, because I don't want to hold inventory. And that's the beauty about the system we do now with the drops is that, we've got some really cool stuff, but, it might have some new stuff that I'm wearing that we might put in a future drop. So that might be a little hint for you, but I'm excited for it. And I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. In Nevada, OH. So I appreciate you, Smeed, man. I can't wait to meet you. Eric Rams, what's up, my man? Thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, my friend. I do as well. I'll try to get you Orlando. He wants to bring Orlando to St. Louis Cardinals game. So I'll see if Orlando is interested in that. See if we see the big man tomorrow. It'll be interesting because again, there's meetings in the morning for those guys, so it's gonna be a little tight. But I told him, I was like, hey man, you guys need a cold beer and no fear. You know where to find us at. So it's gonna be a good time.
Now, what's the will Orlando, if he comes in, will he put on like the name tag and write Orlando on it or something so people know who he is? Or do you think people will know?
I hope he wears the Brutus hat. I don't think Orlando's coming. If I was Orlando, I'd be, a crowded restaurant, man, when you're Orlando Pace is not the funnest thing in the world. But I mean, he's invited. We're sending him a bunch. He actually, he's got a bunch of gear heading his way. He wears Buckeye Scoop stuff all the time, which is really cool. We've got some brand ambassador stuff,
Now, are you going are you going with the Kirk name tag or are you going with the Burke name tag tomorrow? Which one?
You know what? I didn't even think of that. Should I go with Burke?
I think you got to go with
Burke carton. I mean, David Fennell literally ordered a Burke carton Ohio jersey. I don't know if he's gonna have it for the thing, but he literally ordered one that says B. Carton on it because of you, because you've spawned this like Burke carton movement, which is like it's pretty funny, honestly, because I'm like, it had some legs. Let me see if I got photos of the big man wearing some Scoop gear, because he here's Orlando. We got him a white quarter zip, which will be huge, but you can see he's rocking the Scoop. I can move our logo out of the road right there, but he's rocking the Scoop logo right there on his shirt. And Orlando's a good friend of the Scoop. He's very wise, but he's in town. His son's obviously here. His younger son, I think he's gonna end up at Wisconsin, but I'm not sure. So it'll be very interesting to see where his younger kid ends up, because I was like, dude, sending him to play for Luke is never a bad thing. Luke's as good of a person as there is. CW the second, thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member. Thank you for the 5. Kirk, what about having a stationary laptop with Zoom or Teams on it so those who can't attend can see who's who? If so, you'd have to email link. Well, I just do it on YouTube Live if I did it. I just I think it depends on the lay of the land. I mean, I could just pop it open on my iPad, honestly. Except we've thought about doing that. It really just it's more of a feel thing because I just got to see how how many people are there, how crazy is it. If it's chill, I'd love to do that, and then we can talk and introduce people. If it's madness, which it easily could be, then I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like if I have my laptop open and I'm scanning everybody, like I don't know how you're gonna recognize who's who, but it's a great idea. I mean, me and Nevada have been kicking that around a lot. Do we do a live stream of the whole event? But I'm going to be, moving around, working the room the whole time. So it's not going to be I'm not going to be very stationary. I can't imagine, but just my opinion. What do you think, Nevada? Should we live stream it and you could just be sitting here by yourself, drinking your ice blended, like on a one-man podcast? Kidding.
Yeah. I just think the practical reality is I really think it's going to be crazy.
Oh God.
And so I think that just you managing the mayhem in person is going to be it's going to take yeoman's work from you. So.
Oh, dude, I got people saying they're showing up at 8 a.m. and we don't even open the doors till 9. And I'm like, okay.
That's the move. I'm telling you, that's the meta. That is the meta.
Yeah.
I would definitely be there by 8:30. I can tell you that.
Oh God. Well, I mean, Andy Taylor and her family, they're coming down tonight because she's going to sing some songs. So she's bringing her own sound system and setting all the stuff up. So she's doing that tonight. So the GM there's going to have them set up all their stuff overnight because it's a lot of stuff. And then, we're just going to kind of roll with it. So it's going to be nuts. Like I have no expectation that there's going to be, any rest for the Scoop Master over here. So, but it's going to be fun. Like I can't wait to meet everybody. And again, like, dude, the Master starts at 9 a.m. So what could be better than Scoop Meetup, Masters, Ohio State spring game, pregame show, spring game, UFC 300. I mean, it's literally the greatest day of all time. I don't know what could make it better, honestly. I mean, it's going to be incredible. So, well, Nevada, I think we is good. Any final thoughts? We can wrap this show up before I go and get my work going.
Yeah, well, no, just appreciate you guys all being with us here early in the morning. We know this is kind of a wonky time, but the alternative was not doing a show, and we're like, we'd rather do a wonky time show than not do a show. And I'm just so excited about the spring. The spring game on Fox, on main Fox, should just tell you kind of the esteem with which Ohio State is held in the college football world. And it's going to be that kind of year. It's the year of the expanded playoff. It's the year of no divisions in the Big Ten. So the Big Ten championship game becomes even more meaningful as the 1 versus 2. It's the year that we settle all accounts with Michigan as well. And man, I'm excited, but it all, like, tomorrow's like the official kickoff, as it were, and it all starts at 9 a.m. or earlier if you're smart at Buffalo Wild Wings Land and High. So we'll see you there.
Yeah, it's gonna be absolutely crazy. Like I think it's gonna be nuts. I can't wait, dude. It's gonna be a great day. Like I'm excited for it. I'm excited to meet all you guys. I'm excited for Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm excited for all of our sponsors because this is going to be something that we will be able to replicate and really get a nice little horde of people chilling, having a good time, watching the Masters. Like I mean, I couldn't imagine like a better setup than this. So it'll be fantastic. So Karis, can't wait to meet you and your wonderful wife Beth. See a lot of you guys. The Wrench crew, they're gonna get out to the next one. The Wrench crew, we're gonna get Akeem and those guys out to the next one. Akeem and Devin. So it'll be it's gonna be awesome. So again, I appreciate you guys. We will wrap this thing up. As always, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you so much, Scoop family. Again, appreciate all you guys do. Excited to see all you guys bright and early. Beat-Ups opens at 9 a.m. Get there early. I plead with you to get there early because it is going to be slammed and it's going to be absolutely awesome. I cannot wait to meet you guys. Kim and I will be there ready to rock. I'll be ready to eat probably about 100 Desert Storm wings, all drums, chicken quesadilla, and some iced tea. So there you go. But appreciate you guys as always. Thank you so much. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, we appreciate all of your support. Thank you for supporting our veterans. Thank you for paying it forward. Again, we put the American flag on a lot of our gear where it would fit. So our hats, our polos, our shirts have the American flag. Again, it's classy. Stand up for your country, folks. I love it. And I just appreciate you guys. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Again, I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. I got a lot of work to get done today. So we went a little bit earlier, but we appreciate all of you guys. And we'll see you guys bright and early in the morning. So thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. And thank you, Scoop family. I'm going to talk to you guys tomorrow in person. Go Bucks.